Hey everybody, welcome back to our podcast. This is Murder with My Husband. I'm Payton Moreland.
And I'm Garrett Moreland.
And he's the husband.
I'm the husband.
If you are listening to this right now, it is our first July bonus Patreon episode. We're trying to get better at getting these on a scheduled day each month, but it's still just a little hard. So just know you will always get the promised 2 bonus episodes in a month. I just can't tell you what exact day they're going to come. Maybe one day we'll be able to get them out on the same day. All right, Garrett, it's time for your 10 seconds.
So Peyton and I actually saw everyone tagging us in those like HOA memes.
Mm-hmm.
Those are pretty funny. So when Peyton and I, when we were in Scotland, we were looking for places to eat. And the entire time we were around there, Peyton, she's not picky, but she likes American food.
I am picky.
So she's picky. And so, I mean, I thought the food was great everywhere we went, but we went to a place in Scotland that happened to be American food. And anyone from Scotland, if they can tell us if it was, like, is that a place where tourists go? Or do people from Scotland actually go there too?
Because it seemed like in such a touristy place as well.
Yes, and it seems super, I mean,
very.
like your idea of what American food is. Burgers, shakes, fries, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was kind of curious if it was...
Do you remember what it was called?
Bread,
meat, bread?
Bread, meat, bread. Yep. Bread, meat, bread. So if anyone from Scotland knows if that's just like strictly a tourist restaurant or not, let us know.
Yeah. I did feel bad because it was my favorite meal of the whole entire
It's so sad.
It's not. It's just, I grew up in Idaho. I didn't grow up eating very adventurous foods. And so I feel like my taste buds just got used to it.
Yeah.
But I will always try something. Always. I mean, I've tried fish. Every time Garrett gets fish, I try fish. And I hate it every time. But I still try it.
Yeah, I like seafood a lot.
Hoping one time I like it.
I thought the food in Italy was good. I thought the food in Greece was good.
I did think the food in Greece was really good. I actually ate stuff in Greece that I wouldn't eat in America.
Yeah, it's true.
Mainly because I just felt like the ingredients were fresher. They tasted better.
And then on our way home, when we landed, our first meal was Raising Cane's.
Oh, yeah.
It was. Remember on the way home, we're like, oh, let's go to Raising Cane's.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we literally from the airport didn't even go home. We went straight to Raising Cane's.
I don't know what it is. I feel like we're going to get sick of it eventually because we've been eating it a lot lately.
Mm-hmm.
And so
But that's what we do. We pick a place and then we go there a lot and then we tire it out.
We need to find some new places. I'm kind of craving sushi right now.
I'm craving movie theater food.
Movies. We might go see a movie after this. We might go see the new Thor movie.
Yeah, I think that's why I'm craving it because it's in my head.
So we'll let everyone know how that is.
Yeah.
Peyton and I, we've gotten into Marvel. We've talked about this before, but I mean, I've always been a Marvel fan and I feel like I've kind of gotten Peyton into it recently. I
do like seeing him at the movies. I don't know if I just sat down at home and watched it, it would be harder.
No, I agree. I'm a big movie theater fan.
Yeah. And at the movie theater we go to, they have this fry platter, which is like all the different types of fries you could like imagine, and that's what I get every time, and it's
like
so
the most
amazing.
Idaho dish you can imagine.
It's so good.
It's so funny.
Okay, should we jump into this?
Yeah, let's do it.
So our case sources are Wikipedia, Murderpedia, TeenKillers.org, and a Forensic Files episode, season 12, episode 23. All right, so our case this week begins in Bellevue, Idaho. Why do I feel like Idaho is taking over our life right now? Okay, my mom's dog just decided to join us, so she would like to be here while we record. So in this small town lived a couple named Alan and Diane Johnson. Alan Johnson was a landscaper and Diane was a tax collector. But in their spare time, Alan loved to hunt and Diane loved to cook, which can't relate. And that's what leads us up to a September morning in 2003 in Bellevue. It was a calm, peaceful morning when suddenly 2 gunshots rang out into the air, followed by a teenage girl running to her neighbor's home screaming that someone had shot her parents. And that young girl was Sarah Johnson, Alan and Diane's daughter.
Okay.
When police arrived on scene, they quickly realized they were pulling up to the Johnsons' home because it was a small town. And I do kind of want to explain what the home looked like. It sat on 2 acres of land, so neighbors were pretty far away. And then also there were really big trees. It kind of has a cabin-like feel, so that's the setting of their home. Once there, police stumbled upon Diane in her bed, shot to death.
Oh, wow.
In fact, it was pretty obvious she had been shot while asleep. So whoever had done this had just shot her in her sleep. Alan Johnson was found dead on the floor near his side of the bed, but police quickly discovered that that was not where he had been shot, just where he had managed to crawl to. The shower in the bathroom was still running, and there was blood all over it and a small bullet hole planted into the shower tile. Alan had been shot while taking a shower.
Okay.
So most likely whoever had done this had gone into the bedroom, shot Diane while she was asleep. It alerted Alan. He opened the door to the shower, and then by that point they had made it to the bathroom and shot Alan in the shower.
And then they left the daughter alive.
Yes. A .264 caliber rifle was found on the bedroom floor, and police presumed this was the murder weapon, which again is rare that someone would leave a murder weapon at a crime scene.
Oh, I was going to say it's a weird gun.
Right. It's also a hunting rifle, basically. Yeah. And at the foot, but maybe not a weird gun in a place like Idaho where it's probably a town full of hunters. At the foot of the couple's bed was also 2 knives that were laying against the bed frame, one in front of the other, like lined up. This was weird because obviously no knives were used in the murders. So why were there these random knives laying on the floor? When searching the house, police also discovered another knife. It was laying on a bed in a different room. This was the room of the Johnsons' 22-year-old son, Matthew, who was away at college at the time, but for some reason there was a knife on his bed. Police also searched the guest house on the Johnson property, and it was there that they discovered the scope that belonged to the murder weapon laying again on the bed in the guest house. So it's kind of like you have a knife on one bed, the scope to the murder weapon in the guest house on another bed, and then 2 knives laying at the bottom of the bed in the primary bedroom.
Okay.
So Sarah, who is the living daughter, tells police that she was asleep in her bedroom when she was woken up by a loud bang that was the first gunshot. She claims she sat up and ran towards her parents' bedroom to figure out what was happening. When she got to her parents' door, she called out for her mother, but suddenly the second gunshot rang out and Sarah ran away from the bedroom. In her pajamas, she ran all the way out the front door of the Johnson family home and over to the neighbor's house for help. Sarah didn't see whoever had shot the gun. She didn't even make it inside of her parents' room because when she was about to walk through the door, the second gunshot rang out and it scared her. Sarah told police that the family never locked their doors. It was just that kind of town, so someone could have easily came in. And actually, I've told Garrett this before, but growing up, my family didn't have AC. And Garrett knows this in our first house. So in the summer, my parents would open up our back door and put a fan in the doorway to try and cool down the house, which meant we often slept with our back door open.
I feel like everyone always says in small towns like this,
it's not just a place where this happens.
This stuff doesn't happen. It's just super safe place.
Right.
I'm like, no, this is the places where it happens.
Yes. And also, like, we just willingly slept with an open door to our house and a fan going. So it's not like you could hear someone even come through.
Which I feel like people are more aware now. So maybe that doesn't happen as much. But
I do too.
I don't know.
I think it takes one pretty bad murder in a small town for people to start locking their doors.
Yeah, agreed.
So Sarah also told police that the guest house in the back was being rented out at the time, but police found nobody inside of it. All they discovered was the scope to the murder weapon. The tenant was 45-year-old Mel Spiegel, and he was in fact missing. They also traced back the murder weapon to him, so it was his gun that was used to murder Alan and Diane Johnson, Mel's, who rents the guest house, and he's now missing.
Okay.
Police had just found their prime suspect. Mel Spiegel was a close friend of the Johnsons, was living on site, and was working as an electrician. The local sheriff demanded that they, at this point in the investigation, secure the perimeter immediately and also stop the garbage truck that was one house away. So one house away from coming to pick up the Johnsons' garbage.
In case there's any evidence in there.
In case. So they stopped the truck and then they go over to search the trash can. And in the trash can outside of the family home on the curb was more evidence from the murders that happened inside. Inside the trash can was a pink bathrobe with a brown leather glove, a latex glove, and .25 caliber emission rounds in the pocket.
Pink bathrobe?
Yes. So these casings did obviously not match the bullets that were used in the murders, which was extremely weird. But it did look like whoever the killer was threw all of these items in the trash before fleeing the scene. So they don't understand why there was different bullets, but they were like, we do feel like this came from the crime scene. With a search happening for Spiegel, it didn't take long for investigators to find him 150 miles away in Boise, Idaho. All they had to do was ask around and everyone was like, oh, he's in Boise for the weekend. He claimed he had been there all weekend visiting family, and when police checked into this alibi, it seemed to be true. Okay. By all accounts, he had been 150 miles away in Boise at the time that Alan and Diane were shot to death in their home using his rifle.
Yeah, I don't think it's him. It just seems too easy.
Well, and also, like, that's a pretty solid alibi.
Yeah.
You're hours drive away.
It seems like someone's obviously trying to set him up.
Right. So police confront Mel with the fact that this had happened, and he claimed, okay, well, I know you're saying it's my hunting rifle, but my hunting rifle was in my closet when I left. So police are like, whoever did this went into the guest house, purposely grabbed Mel Spiegel's rifle, and then went into the regular house and shot them. So police ask him, okay, if it wasn't you, then who do you think did this? Did they have any enemies? Like, who could possibly have done this? And he quickly drops the name Bruno Santos. Bruno was Sarah Johnson's boyfriend. She was 16, their daughter, and he was 19.
Okay.
And her parents hated him. Bruno had multiple drug-related charges. He had dropped out of high school and was currently not trying to get legal citizenship in the country. Now, I don't like using either dropping out or citizenship as factors that make a bad person, because I don't believe that. But both of these things are hard, and you add it all up. Alan and Diane worried for their 16-year-old daughter to be dating him. And it was only after figuring out who Bruno was that police then learned that a few days before the murders, Alan, Sarah's dad, and one of the murder victims, and Bruno had gotten into a confrontation. Sarah had told her parents one night that she was having a sleepover with one of her girlfriends. But then Alan called the girlfriend's parents just to make sure that that's where Sarah was. And they were like, no, Sarah's not over here. So they quickly found out that she had lied, and she was actually spending the night with her 19-year-old boyfriend, Bruno.
If Sarah is in on this, oh, man.
Yeah. Alan was furious, and so he asked his brother-in-law to go with him to Bruno's home to pick up Sarah and also confront Bruno. They confronted Sarah and Bruno, and in so many words, Alan told Bruno to stay away from his daughter and told Sarah she was to never see him again. And here's the thing about this. If there's one thing I know about teenage girls, if she says she loves a boy, no matter what you say, she's not going to leave him alone.
True.
It's going to be something that she will have to learn on her own. And Diane and Alan knew this. They talked about this with family members about how it doesn't matter what we say, she's going to keep seeing him.
Still so hard, though.
What are you going to do? You have to do it. You have to say, no, you can't see him, because it's dangerous. And Alan actually ended the conversation by threatening Bruno. He told his daughter's boyfriend that if he didn't stay away from Sarah, Alan would file statutory rape charges against him, because he's 19 and she's 16.
Oh, Alan threatened Bruno, not Bruno threatened Alan.
Yes.
Got it.
But this would lead to an arrest of Bruno, and that arrest would then lead to Bruno being deported out of the United States. Okay. So this is a pretty heavy threat. I think threatening to have someone arrested is big all on its own, right? But then to add into the fact that he could be deported,
there's more consequences.
You just really threatened Bruno's life. Now, I'm not saying that was wrong of Alan to do, because it is illegal for Bruno to be dating Sarah. I'm just explaining this so we can understand the extent of the situation. So when investigators found all of this out, all of this past history between Bruno and Alan and Sarah and Diane, they understandably brought Bruno in for questioning immediately. They found him to be cocky, arrogant, and confrontational. He kind of acted like he was untouchable. But Bruno told police that he had actually proposed to Sarah and she had said yes. And Bruno and his mother both claimed that he was at home at the time of the murders, and he told police he did not kill them. So one of the reasons I think he said this is because I think if you do get married, then there is no statutory rape charge. So maybe he was like, oh, we're planning on getting married.
It would still have to be okay by her parents, though, because she's under 18, correct?
I don't know. That's a state-by-state law, so I don't know the rules in Idaho. I probably should about at what age you can legally get married without parents' consent. But I do still think 16 would fall under that.
Okay.
So Bruno also told police that he didn't care what Alan and Diane had said, that they had threatened him. He continued to see Sarah because he loved her, even after Alan had threatened him with deportation. So police searched Sarah's room and they found semen stains from Bruno that were recent enough that they proved his statement about all of this to be true, that he had kept seeing Sarah even after the fight. But the thing about it is that Bruno would have known about the hunting rifle in the guest house because Sarah sometimes cleaned the guest house. And I'm sure Bruno would come over. And so the police were like, you had access to everything in this crime.
Yeah.
So they executed a search warrant for Bruno's home. They collected his clothes, his DNA, hair samples, and everything else they could think of. Police tested every piece of clothing they collected, and they all came back clean. They searched the Johnsons' crime scene and found no evidence of Bruno even being there. This left only one other person from this equation.
This is what I was going to say next. And I was going to say it at the beginning, but I was thinking there's no way she would just kill her parents, right?
Yeah.
Because she's left alive. And usually if someone goes in and kills the parents and doesn't kill someone else, something weird's going on.
Right. And I think what I've seen most commonly with parent deaths is either one of two options. The kid kills the parents and then kills themselves.
Correct.
Or the kid gets someone else to kill their parents.
Yes.
I think it's very rare, and I know we just covered the Chandler Halderson case where this again happened, but I do think it's very rare for a kid to kill their parents and then try to be like, oh, an intruder came and did it. I very rarely see that happen in these cases. So when police are like, okay, well, all we have is Sarah, they can't help but think, but this is a 16-year-old girl. Like, could she actually execute this crime against her own parents all on her own? It just seems wild. They had to dig into it. They had to test the theory. They discovered that Sarah had a stormy relationship with her mother, that it had not been all rainbows, and that she had actually been suffering from depression as well. But it was the unusual behavior after the murders that stuck out to friends and family of the Johnsons. After the attacks, Sarah kind of just went on with life. She wanted to hang out with friends. She went to get her nails done, everything. And this is odd considering that she had just lost both parents and somehow lived. Plus, Sarah had keys to the guest house, like I said, because she had been cleaning it for Mel. Mm-hmm. But Sarah claimed she was asleep when she heard the first shot and that her door was closed. She woke up, she opened her door, she ran in. So the first pieces of evidence the police are like, this kind of disputes her story, was that police found evidence in Sarah's room from the crime itself. Blood and bone pieces that flew in there because her bedroom door was just right across the small hallway from her parents' door. Yeah. So they were like, if her door was closed when her mother was shot, which this DNA evidence belonged to her mother, how did that DNA evidence fly into Sarah's room?
Okay.
So they were already there like she lied or she misremembered because her door was definitely open when her mother was shot. But the biggest piece of evidence when police started looking into this theory actually came from Sarah's pajamas, the ones she wore that night. There was nothing on them. No blood. Like she was clean when she went to the neighbor's house. But what about that pink bathrobe they found in the garbage can that morning?
Oh, that's right. I knew the pink bathrobe was suspicious.
Yeah, so scientists examined it, and they discovered hundreds of tiny specks of blood in it. The blood was Diane and Alan Johnson's, her parents. So whoever killed them wore the robe backwards, wore the gloves, and then killed them. But how do they prove that it was Sarah who wore the robe that day?
Also, it's kind of dumb of Sarah. Well, this whole thing is dumb, but why would she throw it in someone else's trash can and not just hers? Because they would have just emptied it and it'd be gone.
I think she had limited time from the actual crime itself to getting to the neighbors.
Oh, got it.
Does that make sense? Like if you're going to say, oh, I immediately ran after the second shot, you have very limited time to get there and like make your story accurate.
Interesting.
So police decide to go back to the pajama shirt that Sarah was wearing that night and then also compare the fibers between that t-shirt and the bathrobe. Like, was there any transfer? Was there anything? And there was transfer onto both. So there were fibers from the robe on Sarah's pajama shirt and fibers from Sarah's pajama shirt onto the robe. So Sarah Johnson had definitely worn the pink bathrobe on the top of the t-shirt she slept in that day, which was pretty concrete evidence that she had been the one wearing the robe, and they know whoever wore the robe killed Alan and Diane. And finally, police analyzed the gloves that they found in the trash can that they figure were worn by the killer, and they found DNA. They matched it to Sarah's DNA inside the latex glove.
That's so crazy.
And on top of all of that, all of the items in the garbage can also had gunshot residue on it. So they confirmed that these items were used in the murder, and then they confirmed that Sarah had been the one wearing these items. That's pretty concrete evidence. She had motive because of her father threatening her boyfriend that she just really wanted to be with. So in October of 2003, Sarah Johnson was charged as an adult for the murders of her parents.
Oh, it's an adult. Wow.
The trial contained so much forensic evidence, and Bruno Santos actually testified against Sarah. Talked about how she had talked about shooting her parents, how much she hated her parents,
my gosh.
everything.
So did Bruno have no idea this was even happening?
Police don't think so. Police know that Sarah had talked about it with him, but police don't think she had involved him in the actual murder at all.
What is Sarah thinking?
I don't know.
Not thinking.
Yeah, right. She was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, and remains there today.
She literally killed her own parents.
She's in prison in Pocatello for murdering her own parents.
She's got to have no friends, no family, because no one wants to talk to her because she killed her parents.
Right. She tried to appeal and overturn her conviction because she was 16 and she was under 18, sentenced to life in prison. They didn't overturn it.
No, thank you.
Yeah. But that is the story of Alan and Diane Johnson.
That's insane. I kind of believe that Bruno probably had nothing to do with it, because it just takes a lot to kill someone. And I think maybe Sarah wanted to, but Bruno's probably like, okay, yeah, you're going to shoot your parents. But.
Yeah. That's the question. I don't think it's whether or not he was involved. I don't think he was there that day. I think the question is, did he know about the plan or not? Had she told him she was going to do it or not? That's the part where I think he was
probably just like, she's just 16.
We're in love.
She's saying she's going to kill her parents, which I don't know. I don't think I've ever said I'm going to kill my parents, but still.
I think crazy. I've definitely been annoyed at you and said, I'm going to kill him.
True. That's probably true. In like a joking way.
Yeah. Which we probably shouldn't be doing that anymore.
I know, seriously.
Like, considering. And also, like, I thought about that before when you say that, like, that we say it so lightly as a joke, but also there's people out there who actually get killed. And then, like, how you kind of feel about that when you actually think about it in that way. So I've tried to stop saying that as like a joke.
I feel like I'm over paranoid now. Like, I'll be somewhere and kids will be running around and like they'll be screaming and crying when someone's taking them. I'm like,
are they being taken?
Is that their parents?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, all the time. All the time. I do that all the time.
And you stop doing that.
I also do it where if I see a kid on their own, I'll immediately walk up to him and be like, where's your mom? Where's your dad? And I'm like, now I'm the creepy. Now I'm the stranger.
I know.
In strangey dangy. But also I just am like, why is this kid all by itself? Like, did it run away? What's going on?
That's crazy. So how is she in jail for life?
Yeah, jail for life.
Possibility of parole?
No possibility of parole.
I'm actually surprised that the sentence was.
Well, that's why she tried to get it overturned.
I'm not saying it should be overturned. I'm just surprised. I mean, she killed 2 people. I'm fine with her being in jail forever, but usually it's like 25 possibility of parole.
Well, actually, that I didn't include, one of the pieces of evidence brought up at trial was that she had worn a shower cap on her head, which is why she had no blood in her hair when she got to the neighbors. And the only reason they discovered that was because she had flushed it down the toilet and it had clogged the drains. And so plumbers had come in to try to find where the problem was, and they discovered that the shower cap had been flushed down at the Johnson's house.
I don't know how she thought she was going to get away with killing her own parents.
I know.
That's so sad.
And also that she just dumped all of the evidence in her own trash can outside of her house.
Don't understand people.
But if the garbage truck had collected that before police had stopped it, so much evidence would have been taken.
If she would have went to a neighbor's house and put it in there, I don't think.
Yeah.
I actually think they would have probably blamed Bruno, first of all. And then I think he probably would have gotten off because not enough evidence. And I think no one would have ever known what happened. There's a chance Bruno would have been like, who killed your parents?
Right.
I don't know. She might have told them. You're right. She might have told him, like, look, I just killed them.
I think she could have said, hey, I'm killing him tonight so we can be together. And he said, okay. Like, I just don't think you ever know.
Yeah. And then testified. I mean, he did testify against her, though.
Like, I don't think I was ever that young and in love, but you know, when you're 16, love can feel like the end of the world. So I don't know.
Wow.
All right, so we did put a poll up saying that starting in July on our bonus episodes, we were going to start a segment where we talked about non-true crime related topics because a lot of people were asking for that. So we're going to end the episode here, but there will be an episode uploaded at the same exact time that is just Garrett and I talking about our history or whatever it was you guys suggested. So if you want to check that out, you can now. But this is the end of this episode, and we will see you guys next week with a regular episode. I love it.
And I hate it.
Goodbye.